Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another episode of the Just Seen podcast. Today, I'm going to be discussing an important topic called forgiveness and the power of letting go. I felt like I'd done forgiveness before, but looking back, I didn't do it. Maybe it was a YouTube episode that I did before transferring over here. I don't know, but it's a definite topic that needs to be discussed and expounded upon. So, you know me, I'm gonna go in on it. I think forgiveness is something that we gotta understand and we gotta come to terms with a lot better, and we gotta deal with a lot better, and we gotta actually implement forgiveness tactics a little bit more, just to release for yourself. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be going in a little bit deeper and from a different perspective as others, because I realize that forgiveness is misconstrued. It's not really what people have grown to define and express forgiveness as. Isn't really forgiveness. And it's crazy because it's like a lot of it is guilt ridden. You know what I mean? It's based off of, feeling guilty and feeling like, it's an obligation to do. Forgiveness is a choice, first and foremost. Forgiveness is a choice. And the steps after forgiveness are choices as well. So we get into those points of, if you forgive somebody, then you got to fuck with them again and all this other crazy nutty shit. Forgiveness isn't reconciliation. We need to understand that shit from the jump too. So I'm going to be discussing a little bit of that. I'm going to be peeling back the layers onto what I feel we have accepted as forgiveness, what forgiveness really is, and where we should go from there. Because, like I said, forgiveness helps free our souls, and it helps, push us to different points. Not only forgiving people, but forgiving ourselves as well, which is something that a lot of us have difficulty doing. Something that I struggled with in my past, something that I battle and I deal with better now, because like I said, conditioning is heavy. So I still struggle with the forgiveness part of myself. It's easy for me to forgive people, but sometimes it's myself, because I'm my biggest critic, I'm my best friend, and my worst enemy at times, as we all are. So I want to discuss forgiveness from that perspective and that dynamic, and, kind of just, give my thoughts on it. So before I go in, as always, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_seen_, and you can click the link in the bio there to get directed to all of my other connections. I don't like, it ain't that I don't like, I just don't feel like listening to shits anymore over here. Like, that shit gets redundant. So it's like, follow me on Instagram at _just_seen_. And if you want to connect to anything associated with this, the podcast, the merch, the vegan class, the trading class, everything that's me, just click the link in the bio on my Instagram page and you will be directed there directly. I accept donations and tips, but before I say that, let me say this too, because I always kind of just go on a tangent. I never really say thank you for all those who are supporting and those who do sponsor the page, sponsor the podcast. You are greatly appreciated, and I don't say that enough. Because sometimes, you get in the script and you get in the flow and rhythm and automatic shit, you kind of just flow. So I want to take the time to thank you all for that. Everybody who's really playing a part in this, because it's you who is making this possible. So I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And for those who are looking to, you want to give a tip, sponsor, donations, whatever, you can do so by using my Cash App or my PayPal. The links and the information is in the description of your podcast, as well as the sponsorship. It can take you directly to where you can sign up for that. Also, be sure to get my book, So Frail, A Reality of the Black Masculinity, So Frail, Too Toxic Femininity, and Hitting It Raw, Living a Raw Plant-Based Lifestyle for Life. I think that's about it. So without further ado, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to dive back into forgiveness, the power of letting go. Oh yeah, and don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things Just Sing. You want to add the So Frail series to your library? Visit IamJustSing.com. You want to learn how to master the market for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSing.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSing.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSing.com. You ever want to just chat with Sing about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSing.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSing.com. So just take a quick peek into my world and see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it. You will never see it unless you visit IamJustSing.com. All right, welcome back. And I hope everybody's, recovered from the retrograde properly. This motherfucker it was a beautiful one. I'm not even gonna lie. It taught a lot. It brought a lot of lessons back, and it helped a lot of mastery come into play. And I hope it did the same for you, and it kind of inspired a lot of this topic for the podcast, because forgiveness is something that comes back up in our lives repeatedly, because we have to learn to forgive ourselves and we have to learn to forgive other people. But in order to forgive other people better, we have to first learn to forgive ourselves. And forgiveness is a deep circumstance. You feel what I'm saying? Because we like I said, we misconstrue what forgiveness really is. You dig what I'm saying? And we come from a perspective that forgiveness is forgetting. We make those two synonymous, and they're not. Forgetting and forgiving, like what we call forgiveness today is actually forgetting. We try to forget. You can't forget pain. You can't forget trauma. You can't forget being wronged. You cannot forget that shit. You know what I'm saying? So we try heavily to forget it. And that's what we mask as forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? What we call forgiveness is just a combination. Forgiveness, what we call today, is the equation of forgetting and reconciliation coming together. You know what I mean? When you forget and you reconcile, we think that's forgiving. No, sir. No, ma'am. That is not forgiveness. That is forgetting and reconciling, or trying to forget and reconcile. And that's why we can't forget. And because we can't forget, it's like that plays a part in our connection with whatever it is we're trying to reattach with, because you can't forget it. You feel what I'm saying? That's why when we're triggered, it brings it back up. You feel what I'm saying? Because you can't forget it. You just suppress it. You know what I'm saying? So what we think is forgiveness is really reconciliation and forgetting, or trying to forget. Let me say that. So we go through the whole process of, yeah, I forgive you. And then we go through the same shit again. Like, forgiveness is different. Forgiveness is letting go of the wrong. You know what I mean? Letting go of the wrong. And off this other side is letting go of the right. You feel what I'm saying? We got to understand that forgiveness too, it's easier to learn to forgive when you understand that forgiveness isn't bad or good. And it shouldn't be contributed or connected to bad experiences. You know what I'm saying? Only it's good experiences that we got to forgive too. You know what I mean? And I know that seems totally ironic, but there's forgiveness in ourselves for the good things too, because you want to have that balance and you want to be able to maintain that. We forgive ourselves a lot for good things, and we don't even realize it. You know what I'm saying? This is why it's like when something good does happen, we don't dwell on it much, because we've forgiven it. You know what I mean? We've released it from our soul. It was a good experience that happened. Hey, it's done. There's nothing to remember heavily about. But when it comes to a bad experience, we try heavily. It sticks to us. You feel what I'm saying? So we need more help with that form of forgiveness. But if we understood how easy it was for us to forgive the rights and the positive things in our lives, it'll be easier to understand how to forgive the negative things and the bad things in our lives that occur. You feel what I'm saying? So, like I said, forgiveness is just letting go. It's as complex as it is, it's really that simple too. It's just letting go, releasing. You feel what I'm saying? And sometimes we can't release the reason why it's hard to forgive, and it's because it changes you. Forgiveness changes who you are. Just as the pain changed you, just as the situation changed who you are, the forgiveness is going to change who you are to a different person. And a lot of us, we don't like change. We don't like change as much as we would want to. You know what I mean? And not in the sense of, let me rephrase. I don't want to say change. I want to say evolve. Forgiveness makes you evolve. Because when you change, you can change back. When you evolve, that's it. You know, I use the metaphor of Pokemon all the time. You know, not because I'm childish and shit, but because this shit motherfucking works the best. Like, you know, when it comes to forgiveness, forgiveness is like Pokemon. And then like true forgiveness is like Pokemon. But like the societal standard of what forgiveness is and, you know, forgetting is like Digimon. You feel what I'm saying? Here's the example and reason why. Because with Pokemon, it's like when that Pokemon reaches a certain level, they evolve and they change and they never go back. They can't go back. Like that's it. You feel what I'm saying? They changed, completely transformed. You know what I mean? But with Digimon, it's different. They change, period. They change for the moment and then they can go back to their original self. You feel what I'm saying? They go back to what's normal, what their norm is and what their norm has become. You feel what I'm saying? So that example applies to forgiveness at the core because forgiveness evolves us. Forgetting changes us. It makes us put on a suit, but then it's like forgiveness and reconciliation. It changes us because it makes us put on a suit temporarily to fit and be comfortable in a space long enough to maintain whatever it is that we maintain. You know what I mean? As opposed to forgiveness being the complete letting go. And sometimes because it comes with evolution and it comes with, you're not going to be the same person anymore after you forgive something or you forgive somebody. And that's hard to do because it's like over time, that shit becomes a part of your normalcy. It's not normal, but the thing becomes a part of your normalcy. You feel what I'm saying? And in becoming a part of your normalcy, what it does to you is it creates an extension of your personality, an extension of the choices that you're going to make for the rest of your life. You feel what I'm saying? Everything has to be predicated upon that. You dig what I mean? And trying to forget and reconcile is not good. It's not good. So that's how we segue into the part about forgiveness being forgetting. You know, we try to, you know, we try to, when people do us wrong, you dig what I mean? We be like, yo, that was fucked up that you did, but it's like, all right, cool. We never forgive them. We rarely forgive them. We forget what they've done or try our best to forget what they've done by creating other positive things to erase that shit. You can't. You can't. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have to forgive, because that lets it go and says, okay, well, maybe this just can't be. And that's the reality too. But like I said, it causes you to change, not only yourself, but it changes your surroundings, your circumstance, everything. You got to forgive. You know, forgiveness is powerful when it's mastered and when it's truly done. You know, but as long as you're trying to forget and reconcile, you'll fall short of fall short of the glory. The glory of yourself and shit. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, imagine, you know, I use myself as an example, you know, and this is one thing that I had to learn. Like when I went through my first heartbreak, I tried hard to forget and reconcile that shit, as opposed to, I thought I was forgiven, but I wasn't. I was forgetting and reconciling. Like that's the energy that I was on. You know what I'm saying? That person wronged me. The person did me dirty. You feel what I'm saying? And it was like forgetting and reconciling with it meant that I was going to continue that cycle. I was going to continue in that loop. And I was wondering like how it happened to where every woman after her was like her. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I forgot. I was trying to forget the wrong and reconcile with the energy of the person. You feel what I'm saying? I didn't forgive her. I didn't forgive that energetic being. See, when we look at people, I think just me, could be my woke side kicking in, but I feel like we need to see people as energy more than we see them as people. Because when we see them as energy, energy moves a different way. You understand people better when you understand that it's about energy. You feel what I'm saying? So when it came to forgiving that person, I wasn't forgiving the energy of that person or trying to forget. And that made me forget and reconcile with the energy of that person, which meant that I would still be welcoming to the very energy that was serving me no good. You feel what I'm saying? It's serving me no good. But I tried to make it work because it's like, you know what? I forgive you. I forgive you. I never forgave that person in those moments. I've forgiven her. Now I've forgiven the energy of that person. And I can't fuck with that person. I can't fuck with that type of person. Like I said, it brings back retrograde shit. You know what I mean? Retrograde brings back energy. It doesn't bring back people. It brings back energy and experiences. It doesn't bring back people. When the people come back, you have to see beyond the veil and see that it's deeper than the person coming back. It's their energy coming back. It's energy that you have tried to forget or reconcile with, as opposed to forgive. If you've forgiven it, it's not coming back. It's not coming back. And this is, I'm going to attest to that because it's like every time a retrograde hits, like I know people personally, like closely, intimately, who are like, yo, this ex popped up. This ex popped up. And I'm like, yo, exes don't pop up for me. Like the women don't come back. Like I be wanting that shit. You feel what I'm saying? I get heavy experiences like, you know, tighten up on your entrepreneurship, tighten up on this, go study this part, go deeper in that. Like that's the shit I go in. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like that energy I've dealt with. And I've learned that I forgave that energy in some regard. Because when those physical exes don't come in, because I'm big on if the relationship, like when we're done, we're done. Like we complete. I got a YouTube series on that where I show the difference between being done with a relationship and being complete. A lot of us are done with relationships, but we're not complete with that shit. We're not complete with that person or with that relationship. That's why that person comes back. Closure is a real thing. I'm not saying go seek closure because you just want that last conversation, but you need closure because closure completes the relationship. It completes the attachment. It completes the karmic debt. It completes whatever it is that person was in your life for. That's what closure is supposed to do. It's not supposed to give you a second possibility or a chance or option that, oh, this motherfucker changed their mind, or yo, she ain't wilding no more, man. Maybe I could. No. Closure brings back the point of completing the relationship. Now, the ideation of what we have accepted closure to be, that's where forgetting and reconciliation comes in. We want to try to forget that shit that they did to us and realize maybe we can start from scratch and start fresh and let's reconcile what we like. We go to closure with the hopes of reconciliation, not even knowing that that's what we're doing. You know what I mean? So that's why that physical person comes back. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times retrograde brings back energies. You feel what I'm saying? So it could be a whole nother person that's just the same as the other people. You know, like over the last few years, I've ran into the same type of woman and didn't realize, I'm like, y'all are different people, but your energy's the fucking same. And I'm like, oh shit, that's what it is. You feel what I'm saying? That's what it is. And the temporary retrogrades don't do shit for me. But the long ones, like Pluto, Saturn, the motherfuckers that last a couple years, last some months, they always bring people back energy-wise. And I realized that it's because I had not forgiven that energy. I forgot it or attempted to forget about it. And I reconciled with it. And that's why I was able to give these types of people a chance again. And I shouldn't have. And there's no slight to those people. There's nothing wrong with those people. But I cannot fuck with that energy. And then they come into my space and I get miserable again. I get frustrated and all of this shit. And it's like, yo, why is this happening? Why am I experiencing the same shit? It's the energy. You feel what I'm saying? And that's the energy because I never forgave that energy in the form of releasing it and saying, yo, this is done. It was, okay, I forgot that this person carried this energy. I reconciled with that energy and said, hey, you can come back and try again. You're different this time. You're in a different form. You're in a different person. You're in a different experience. But the energy is the same. You feel me? It's the same energy. So the same energy is ultimately going to bring you to the same experience. You know? Case in point. I'm going to use my sisters real quick. You feel me? This is why y'all say all men are dogs. This is why niggas ain't shit. For my brothers. This is why these hoes ain't loyal, and this is why these bitches ain't shit. This is why. Because it's our connection to that energy. We never forgave the energy that may have played us out or did us wrong. And then we attribute this energy to everything. Not realizing that it's not everybody, it's everybody that holds that energy. And then we're attracted to that energy. You feel me? And we're attracted to that energy on the strength that we didn't forgive and let it go and realize and come to terms with, oh, this energy doesn't serve me. You feel me? This energy doesn't serve me because it causes you to change. You feel what I'm saying? Like I said, it causes you to evolve. If when I noticed that, when I actually forgave the energy, the types of women that I was involving myself with afterwards, totally different. Totally different. The energy carried in with the woman that broke my heart the first time was real toxic. I don't want to keep using that term because motherfuckers play that shit out. You feel me? But it was real toxic. It was damaging. It was real negative. You feel what I'm saying? And that wasn't, I don't want to believe that was that person's intention to be that way. They just were. And it's like that type of energy, when it connects with me, this is what happens. It's problematic. I don't need that. You feel me? But as I was trying to forget and reconcile, all of the women that kept coming into the space, exactly the same. And I would be like, yo, you just like my ex. Don't compare me to that motherfucker. She did you. I ain't gonna do it. And you don't know that you're like, the energy is gonna bring it out. The way our energies mesh, that's what's going to happen. I can't like, I'm not going to bring it out of you, and I'm not going to intentionally bring it out of you, and you're probably not going to intentionally be this way. But the energy is there. When my energy connects with that type of energy, that's what the fuck happens. There's no way around it. You feel what I'm saying? It's not the person. And that's where it gets problematic, because a lot of people think it's the person as opposed to the energy that the person is bringing. You dig what I mean? And because we do not forgive, we just forget and reconcile. You feel me? That makes us create the loop. Because now when your attraction changes, because when you deviate from that energy, when you forgive yourself, like, you have to become a different person to be able to attract a different energy. You have to put out, it's output and input. You have to put out a different energy to get back a different energy. You feel what I'm saying? So as long as your energy, because you have not forgiven, is still in that space, that's what you're going to attract. So yes, everybody, all niggas ain't shit. Bitches ain't shit. Like, you feel me? All men are going to be dogs. All women are going to be hoes. Like, that's how we're going to see it, because we're basing the collective energy on what we're still connected to and what we're still bound to, because we won't forgive. You're bound to that energy. You feel me? So anything that holds that energetic space is going to pull to you. You feel what I'm saying? It's going to pull to you. And then when the right energy comes, you're going to pull away from it, because it's going to be repulsive to you, because it's like, that's not the energy space I need to be in. Like, women, I've heard women say that a man can be too nice. Now, some men can be too nice. You feel what I'm saying? But is that really that man being too nice? Or is that you not being able to embrace a new type of energy that is coming towards you? You want that energy that you naturally connected to. You feel what I'm saying? You want that energy that you're not naturally connected to. And that type of energy is problematic for you. But the energy that is solutionatic, that's not a word, but I'm just saying it because I said problematic. The energy that is solution oriented, that is going to bring solutions to your life, not problems, but solutions to your life, you're going to run away from. You're going to shy away from, because you have not forgiven that energy in order to release it, in order to allow new energy to come in. You feel what I'm saying? And it's based off of forgiveness, because we forget and we reconcile. And then that reconciliation with that energy, that's what brings it right back in. When you reconcile with something, it allows it to come back in. You feel what I'm saying? From the physical perspective, when you reconcile with your ex, what do? They come back. I'll never do it again. I'm gonna be a better person. I promise I'm gonna change. I'm gonna do that. No. Their energy is the same. You're liable to go through the same shit. Some people do change. Don't get me wrong. Some people do change. Some people don't. Most people don't. Because, like, why change? You took me back. The fuck? You got me fucked up if you think I'm gonna change and you took me back. You feel me? You opened the door for me to come back in. So I'm going to come back in with these muddy sneakers again. You feel me? And walk all around your white carpet. Rick James, your couch. Fuck your couch, nigga. Shit. Now you gotta laugh sometimes. You dig what I'm saying? You gotta laugh sometimes. So the point of it all is, when you're able to forgive that shit, you're able to bring in new energy. So like in forgiving that, in forgiving the energy and let it go, you have to forgive the energy within yourself and let that go. You feel what I'm saying? You have to let that shit go too. And that energy is harder to let go because it's yours. It's yours. You like, oh shit. Damn. Accountability piece. I gotta be responsible for my shit too. Oh man, I don't want to do that shit. It's not me, it's them. Nah, you're attracting them. Your energy resonates for them to enter the sphere, enter your space. Like, you feel what I'm saying? So you can't just forget, like when that tragedy happens, you have to forgive them and yourself. My mom taught me this, when I was young. Like my mom really helped me through my first breakup. Like that was like when I found out, like I broke up. I had a lot of breakups, but this was the breakup. Like y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, the bullshit ones don't count. Like we all been together a couple months or some shit or just some cuddy buddy type shit, playful shit. But like I was actually committed and invested in this shit. And then I got my heart broken. Like my mom, she helped me get through that shit. Like she told me, she said, man, I'm just glad you wasn't in her face. She said, crimes of passion are real. And she said, I know that you're not an abusive man. I know that you would never put your hands on a woman. She said, but the way that you snap, if you were in her, I just happened to be home. I happened to be home. And it's like, she sent me a text. And she like, I got to tell you something. You feel what I'm saying? And she like, I can tell you now, or I can wait till you come see me. Cause like I was getting ready to go back to school for the summer session. She lived in the city. So I was about to go back to the school. And I was like, yeah, I'll go up there. I didn't think it's nothing bad. But then my gut kicked in. It kicked me right in the stomach. It said, no, find out now. You feel what I'm saying? So I found out. And she calls me and she's like, yeah, I cheated on you. And I'm like, I flipped. I lost it. And like, my mom's like, she said, I didn't even know that side of you can come out. She said, she said, I'm so glad that you were not there. I said, Ma, I wouldn't hit her. She said, Ray, I can't say that. I was like, nah, Ma, I said, you raised me never to put my hands on a woman. I said, I never hit a woman. she said, this, and she broke down. She was like, yo, this is how crimes of passion happen. You feel what I'm saying? She said, in that moment, she said, I can tell you blanked out. You weren't thinking. She said, run back everything that you just said to me. I said, I don't remember what I said. I was angry. I was up. She said, exactly. She said, it happens in a flash. You feel what I'm saying? But the point that I was making with that was that she told me, she was like, you got to forgive her. And then you got to forgive yourself. And again, I'm young. I think I'm like 21. I'm like, forgive me. I didn't do shit. Like, what you talking about? Like, I ain't even do nothing, man. What I got to forgive myself for? And she's like, you have to forgive yourself because you chose her. You have to forgive yourself because now, if you don't, you're going to start questioning your decision making. And I did. You're going to start questioning your own judgment. And I did. You're going to start questioning your own intuition. And I did. You feel me? You start questioning yourself when you don't forgive the people. When you don't forgive, like when you are in a situation that you have to forgive somebody, if you don't forgive yourself too, you're going to start fucking with your own sanity. A lot of people don't get that. That's why we forget and we reconcile, because it's easier to do that. It's easier to just pacify it. You feel what I'm saying? I had that delusion. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, she got pregnant. Like, she got pregnant by the other dude. Like, that was different. Like, you feel what I'm saying? So it's like, on top of that, it's like, how do I forgive? I'm like, Mom, this wasn't my fault. What do you mean I got to forgive myself? I didn't do shit. She was like, you may not have done anything in that situation. I mean, of course, I ain't say shit. I don't be cussing in front of my mama like that. But I'm speaking to y'all, man. Chill. But it's like, if you don't forgive yourself, you end up blaming yourself. What did I do? Because I ran down that shit. I was like, damn, was I really not showing her that much attention? Did I really like get that far off? And you know what I mean? Nah, she did her thing. That's what she felt like doing. That's what she chose to do. And that put another point into perspective. One of my homegirls, she once told me, she said, and I never understood it till the shit happened to me. She was like, I don't trust anybody to do anything other than what they're going to do. She said, I trust you to do what you're going to do. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? She was like, I trust, like she said, when it comes to my relationships, I trust them to do what they're going to do. That's the only thing I trust them to do. And I was like, you don't trust them to be? She said, nope, I don't trust them to be faithful. I don't trust them to be loyal. I don't trust them to curse. She said, I trust them to do what they're going to do. She said, when you can get to a point where you can trust somebody to do what they're going to do, it'll be free. The relationship will really be free. Her and my homeboy, shit, they've been married damn near forever. I feel like, let's see, about 10 years probably. 8. It's under, if it's around 10, somewhere around there. And they got a baby girl and everything like that. And they've been together rocking. You feel me? They had to be together for like 12 years by now because they were together. Yeah. So it's about 12 years, but they've been married for. But the point is, both of them agreed to this. I trust you to do what you're going to do. They said that absolves me from anything. You know what I'm saying? I follow them both on social media. Like he be liking other women's pictures and shit. Don't nothing happen. And he's not a cheater or anything. Like he's not gonna cross the line, but it's like, yo, if he doesn't have that fear of, yo, if I like this, she's gonna do that. Or, you know what I mean? It's just, all right, this is who I am. And they've accepted that within each other. You feel what I'm saying? And that makes their relationship so much stronger. But when she told me that, like, you know what I mean? I trust you to do what you're gonna do. Like I understood it after the shit fell out. It's like when somebody says that, like, to trust somebody to do what they're going to do is like, that's it. Like whatever out, like I trusted you to do that. You feel what I'm saying? And then if I would have understood that, then I would have known. Like she told me about past situations where she cheated on men. You're a cheater. Like I'm not going to say you're going to cheat on me, although you did. I can't say you're going to cheat, but you're a cheater. You feel me? Like you have stories of cheating. Like it's not like you just did it one time. It was a whimsical thing. No, you have stories of cheating. And then on top of that, we had a talk where she told me one time she cheated on the dude to end the relationship. Cause she was like, I didn't want to break up with him, but I wanted to, if he broke up with me, it'd be, I was like, all right, cool. I got that. So then when it happened, she told me, oh, I want you back. No, you wanted it done. Like I can't trust anything else other than what you've already showed me that you do. You feel what I'm saying? But in that, I had to forgive her. But like I said, I had to go back and forgive myself. That was one of the hardest things because in my mind, I did nothing wrong. I know I did nothing wrong. Even out of her own mouth, she said, you did nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong with you. She said, I fucked up. You know what I mean? I was like how? Like I'm confused. I'm like, yo, how did you fuck? Like if I did nothing wrong, if I was doing everything that I was supposed to do, I was like, and my thing was, it's like, when and this is why forgiveness is important. Like in that, when it came out that I did, like, she's like, I did nothing wrong. There was nothing that you could have done. Like when I first met her, she was in a very deep, dark, depressive state. You feel what I'm saying? Real suicidal, actually. You know what I mean? And I helped shift that for her. You feel what I'm saying? She was in a point where she was on the verge of flunking out of college, to where my presence in her life caused her to not only not graduate, not flunk out, but to graduate a semester early with honors. Like I shifted that shit. So in my mind, I'm like, yo, I brought life to you. Like I brought viability to your life. I changed your life, and that's how you do me. You feel what I'm saying? I couldn't conceive what I had to forgive within myself. You feel what I'm saying? And I was like, and then I couldn't conceive what I had to forgive in her. I said, like, I literally did everything that they say, you know what I mean, a man is supposed to be, a man is supposed to do. I went through scars and hell, and I was like, why? You know, I said, I can't forgive you for that. That was my first initial thing. I was like, yo, fuck you. I can't forgive you for that shit. You want some other shit. You a sucker for that. Like, you feel me? Like, I did nothing to you. And I was like, all the chances I had to cheat on you and all of that other shit, and I didn't. I said, that's some fucked up shit. You feel what I'm saying? I was talking to one of my homies. I was like, yo, if I ever cheat, I don't fuck down. I fuck up. So if I cheat, it's like on some shit like, damn, that cheating makes sense. I don't condone cheating in any way, shape, or form. But if you're going to cheat, don't fuck down, fuck up. In the words of Eddie Griffin, do not fuck down, fuck up. You feel me? If you're going to cheat, make sure that person is a step up. Make sure that person is greater than the person that you with. You feel what I'm saying? That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case with her and the person. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like ultimately it got worse for her. And she's still calling me. Like I was like, it was so ingrained that I was her piece of solitude. Like when problems happened with him, she called me. And I'm like, the fuck you calling me for? At first I was there, compassionate, oh, you know what I mean? When the straw, like when I found out she was pregnant, that's when the straw broke the camel's back. And I was like, I can't be there for you no more. I said, do you not know what you're continually throwing in my face? Like, for real, that's the ultimate disrespect right there. Like, you feel what I'm saying? And that's when I was able to internalize and start to learn and process that respect is to men what love is to women. But that's a different story. So, you know, in forgiving that, I had to look at myself intuitively. And I was like, you know, back to what my mom was saying, like, why do I have to forgive myself? I did nothing wrong. That's one of the hardest parts to do. Like when you run down all of the list, when your friends are telling you, yo, I don't see why she did that. We have mutual friends. They stopped being friends with her because she did the foul shit. You feel what I'm saying? Everybody's like, yo, you did nothing wrong. All of the women that was, you know, throwing it at you, you curved them, like you did everything you supposed. I was like, so what do I have to forgive myself for? Like I said, my mom had to help me understand that I had to forgive myself for my decision making. That shit fucked up my decision making skills. I questioned I was like, yo, do I even know how to pick a woman? Like the fuck? Like, do I really know what type of women I like? Cause this motherfucker just brought me pain. And it's like, so that questioned my decision making. You know what I mean? It questioned my intuition because there were several times I was supposed to be out of that situation that I chose to stay because of, oh, you gotta fight through the hard times because the long time is gonna be fuck no. I don't condone that shit. I don't even co-sign that bitch. When motherfuckers be on some shit like, you know, it's the hard times that make no, it's not. When you had that mentality, you believe that a relationship is supposed to be hard. I had to forgive myself for that shit too. Accepting that as a relationship a standard. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, relationships are supposed to be hard. No, they're not. They're supposed to be challenging. They're not supposed to be hard. They're supposed to have their challenges that you got to get through. But they're not supposed to be hard. They're not supposed to be fucked up. You feel what I mean? They're not. They're not. But when you continually reconcile, you don't forgive, you reconcile. You put your burdens, you put your heart in a burden. You put burdens on your heart, which fucks with your soul. And it fucks with your physical health too. Like motherfuckers get crazy. You feel what I'm saying? This is why people have the propensity to let themselves go in relationships where they keep reconciling. You ever notice how like motherfuckers like, yo, y'all felt like a motherfucker in a relationship will remind you that you fell off, not realizing that they pushed you off the ledge. Let it marinate. You feel me? But the point of all of that is that when it comes to these points, you feel what I'm saying? We gotta look at it different. We gotta look at it different. You know what I mean? Forgiveness of others is releasing that shit. Like, yeah, that person wronged me. So in not forgiving her, just trying to forget and reconcile, every time that energy comes back, I feel that energy. I don't give a fuck who the person is. It's the energy of that person. You feel what I'm saying? It's the energy of the person. And it does, by not forgiving them, I keep attracting the energy to that person. Of that person. You feel what I'm saying? So when that person comes in, it's like in my mind, I'm already expecting, you know, I can feel that you're just like this person. There's no way around it. Then it's like, I'm questioning again my sanity and shit. Do I really just like this shit? Do I really just like these type of motherfuckers? Like, you feel what I'm saying? Or, well, maybe this person's different because technically they're not the same. I used to make all kind of justifications. Well, you know, you guys have similar tendencies, but you have different minds. But they have the same energy. The energy is what fuels all of that shit. You feel what I'm saying? So you'll start to see things unfold. Like I was dealing with a woman, you know, this now segues into the next point of forgiving yourself. Because after forgiving her, I was dealing with another woman whose energy was like hers. And it was just like, I couldn't like connect with it. I was like, nah, this ain't it's not gonna work. What do you mean? Like, I can tell you right now, we're not gonna get far. You're just like my ex. Don't compare me to her. Hey, y'all energies are the same. I'm just telling you. Like, you feel me? I tried. You feel me? I will see what's up. You might change. You never know. You could evolve. Who knows? But in the moment right now, I can tell. You feel what I'm saying? And then when pressure started coming and I started to, life started happening, we started to progress. They weren't progressing and they were doing exact same energetic shit as that other person. I'm like, see, I told you. Now we have to sit down and have the talk where I have to tell you we're in two different places, and then you're going to call me arrogant and you're going to say I'm an asshole. But I have to end it because it's like you're the same energy and I can't connect with it. It doesn't work with me. You feel what I'm saying? But when I realized that I didn't forgive myself was when it played into my mind that I expected. You know what I mean? I expected that energy out of people who didn't carry it. You feel what I'm saying? That's when the forgiving yourself part comes in. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, this isn't just relationships are so much easier to break this down with, but this is life decisions too. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like leaving a job, and then leaving a job on a whim, trying to prove a point. I did this when I was 16 years old. I never forget. I had to stand for what I believed in, damn it. I don't give a fuck. I went back to the job, but I proved the motherfucking point and I stood on it and shit changed when I went back. But here's the situation, right? I was working in fast food and shit. I was 16 and it was me, one of my homeboys, he's passed away now, rest in peace, rest his soul. And we had a Caucasian manager. And she had a daughter who had a biracial kid. So she felt that she could say certain shit that she wasn't supposed to say, right? Whether the shit's always racist when it's coming out of a Caucasian mouth. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't, like, there's no way around that shit. So she, I had a point to prove with this shit. So my coworker at the time, he did something, or he was just chilling. Like, we always work hard, but when it died down, it was like, so she came to the back and was just like, he a lazy nigga. And I was like, what? I was like, you really just said that? And then she did a little chuckle with it. She said, I'm not, I just, I was like, she said, I got a black son-in-law and all. I said, I got to prove a point and I got to make sure this shit stops. So I quit. I turned in my notice right after that. Right? I hung it on the door. She's, oh my gosh, what happened? I don't know what it happened. Like, he just left. And so my manager, because I was a shit. You feel me? Everywhere I go, I leave a lasting imprint. So he called me in. He said, I don't want you to quit, but I need to know what happened. I said, she called, I don't want to say this. I try to keep names private. But I was like, she called such and such a lazy nigga. And he was like, I don't think she meant, I said, bro, there's only one way a white person can mean nigga, bro. Like, there's no way, like, there's no good way that you can say the shit. He was like, she's not racist. She doesn't. I said, all right, let me ask you this. He was a Hispanic. I was like, let me ask you this. If she called you a wetback, how would you feel? If she said wetback, regardless of how it was, if in a conversation she said to you, he's a lazy wetback, how are you going to feel about that? He was like, wow, I know you didn't think about it because you're not black. You feel what I'm saying? So I proved the point. I quit. You feel what I'm saying? But I did it off impulse. I did it off proving a point. I did it off standing my motherfucking ground and staying in my truth. You feel me? And I don't regret it. I don't regret that shit at all. However, I had to forgive myself for that. I didn't have another job lined up. I was only 16, but still, I didn't have another job lined up already. I didn't have, nothing was working. So I was like, fuck that. I'm not going back. I'm proving a point. But I eventually went back. Because I was like, I needed this money, bro. And ain't nobody hiring no 16-year-olds like that no more. Shit, fuck it. I went back. I was like, talked to the manager. I was like, bro, no, can I get my job back? He said, I left that up to you. You didn't even have to quit. But he said, I understand why you did what you did. When I went back, ain't none of that shit get said again. You feel me? She ain't even come off sideways. She knew. You feel what I'm saying? And she ain't say it to nobody. You feel what I'm saying? Because motherfuckers was telling me like she had said it before. And I'm like, ain't nobody check this motherfucker? Like, the fuck? But, you know what I'm saying? I had to forgive myself for that. I had to forgive myself for making that situation. That's why I was able to go back, because I was like, yo, damn. I should have handled it a different way, maybe even talked to him. But I was like, that extreme circumstance put that into perspective. But that's why the point that I was using that example for is that it's not always about relationships with people that you got to forgive. You feel what I'm saying? But it's, you got to learn how to forgive them and forgive yourself. And one of the hardest reasons why, and I think this is pretty much going to bring everything full circle. The hardest reason why that we can't forgive and we have difficulty forgiving and we just have to forget and reconcile is because the first time we experience pain that we have to forgive is with our own families and our own homes. And that's where the energy lingers. All right. Look. The markets are not a difficult place to understand. All right. You just have to know what you're looking at. And there's 5 things that you need to see before you can make any market entry. First, you need a pocket so you can know which direction the market is going in. Second, you need a pullback so you can get the better price. Third, you need a battlefield so you can see when that market movement is slowing down. Fourth, you need the upper hand so you can see when the market reactivates. And last, you need a final push so you can see the exact moment when it's time to go with the direction you are already moving in. Okay? Of course, there's so much more that has to go into that, and it's not as cut and dry as that. But those are things that I teach in my Mastering the Market course. So if you would like to learn more, please visit IamJustSing.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today. Although it is directed and specialized for Forex, all of the skills, I crafted them to be transferable to any market that you're looking at. So again, visit IamJustSing.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today if you are truly looking to master the market. Oh yeah, and don't forget, while I still got you, you can use promo code QUARANTINE to save over 90% off of the enrollment of the full price of the course. That is QUARANTINE, QUARANTEEN. You feel what I'm saying? That's where the energy lingers. The first person to ever break your heart is your mother and your father and your siblings. But first person to truly damage your heart like that is your parent and your siblings and shit. And if that energy is the same, that energy is what you find within people. You dig what I mean? That energy is what you find within people. You know, I love my mother to life. I'm not, this will never come off as like a bashing moment or trying to, but the energy that my mother had, my mother's energy, I still found in that woman that broke my heart. You feel what I mean? I found that in her. Now, would my mother ever do something as malicious and damaging as that? No, but they had similar energies. That was the energy I gravitated towards. That energy just had its own shit with it that ultimately did that shit. But it was easy for me to fuck with that type of energy. You feel me? My mom's energy was like that. My sister's energy was like that. The women in my family, the energy was like that. So it was, this is the energy. This is the energy I'm comfortable around. This is the energy that I continue to forget shit and reconcile with, no matter what it does. So I gravitated towards that. You know what I'm saying? Same situation with women, like the women that I've involved myself with, like their energy is connected to their father breaking their heart first, and then the other men. Like, so we forgive, it's hard to forgive the people around us and the people that have wronged us on the exterior when the interior is a lot more difficult. You feel what I'm saying? It's a lot more difficult. When I look at a lot of the women who gravitate towards me that I've learned, they have fucked up relationships with their fathers. The very woman that broke my heart, like she had a fucked up relationship with her father, and she was like, "You and my dad are nothing alike." So it was on some shit like, and that's why a lot of women too get with them. Like, you see this all the time in the white, not so supremacist society. When they want to get back at their parents, they know exactly how to do the shit. They bring home somebody black, or they bring home somebody Mexican, somebody that they do that for a reason. This is me getting you back. This isn't always about love. This isn't always about who I really like. This is me getting you back. And a lot of us don't catch that shit, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? But we do that too. You feel what I'm saying? We get tied up in the reconciliation, the continual reconciliation that we had that we don't know how to forgive. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to fuck with that energy anymore. You feel what I'm saying? You don't have to fuck with that energy anymore. And if that energy can't change, so be it. Like, that is the quintessential piece in letting go, in forgiving, and then flipping it and forgiving yourself. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to address our parents without coming off disrespectful, as they say. If their energy or whatever they did bothered you or did something like that, you're still a child. Stay in the child's place or whatever. I'm still your parent. And, even family, like family will say shit like, yo, that's still your dad. That's still your mom. I don't give a fuck. They're human too. And their energy is problematic. We need to break down that stigma where it doesn't matter what I did because I'm your parent. And that is why forgiveness is so fucking hard. Because continually we forget and reconcile shit and just let the shit build up. And then it blows up when we move out, we get 18, we move. Like, parents don't even understand the significance and the power when your child tells you, I can't wait till I turn 18. That means I no longer have to fuck with you anymore. If I do, it's by choice. That is a powerful sentiment. A child running away from home, that is a powerful sentiment. They have literally reached a point where they can't even be with you. And they're supposed to be with you. That's powerful. You feel what I'm saying? But will the parent ever forgive? No. They won't extend that opportunity for you to forgive them. Like, when I was 18, I talked to my dad and shit. Like, my sister, she was big on, you gotta forgive him, Ray. You gotta, let that shit go and all of this shit. I was like, yo, I forgive him. I don't fuck with him. What you mean? Like, I'm not about reconciliation with him. He had his chance. I'm a grown ass motherfucking man now. I don't need shit from him. Like, ain't shit he can do at this point. You feel what I'm saying? But we had a good conversation and shit. And she was like, I said, how you gonna forgive somebody who can't even fix their mouth to apologize for what they did? He don't see what he did was wrong. And she was like, damn, you said a mouthful. I know I said a mouthful. I always say a mouthful. Y'all just don't be listening to me. Cause I'm the baby. You feel me? Now I'm fucking with them, man. I love them to life, man. They listen all the time. But the point is that, like, years later, we talked again when I was like 26. And, when I talked to him then, it's on some shit. Like, at this point, I had forgiven him. I had forgiven him to the point, like, it's like I had released that energy. And I was like, okay, I don't fuck with it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't fuck with that type of energy. And it was like, he didn't know what he did was wrong. He didn't think that what he did was wrong. And it's cyclic shit. You know what I mean? It's cyclic shit, I guess. I don't know. I didn't really know him. I don't have a relationship with him, so I couldn't really tell. But in forgiving that, I had to forgive myself. And I know that's like how you forgive yourself for your father walking out and all of that shit. I had to forgive myself for even trying to do shit to keep him, do shit to bring him in my life, to do shit to get his approval and shit. I had to forgive myself for that. I never forget. I was 11 years old. I was in 6th grade. I've always been an A student, AB student, high B. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's slack off. But the first time I met him, I was 11 years old. And it's like, I seen him for a week and he made a promise to me. Like, and before he made the promise, like, my brother, he was a star athlete. My sister, she's a cheerleader and shit. So they got trophies and shit. Like, they could show him. I never played sports, but I was a motherfucking scholar. I got fucking progress reports. I got motherfucking AB honor roll awards. I got motherfucking awards out the ass. Look, Pop, let me show you these. And his first words to me, it wasn't congratulations, I'm so proud of you. He was like, oh, you just a nerd. Those were the first words this motherfucker ever said to me. Well, not the first, because he did say what's up. But those are the first words that stuck. Like, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression, my nigga. Your first words and your first interaction with me is to call me a nerd. I said, damn. So, thinking, he's telling me, as he's like, yo, I got to go back, I'm going to get my stuff together. I'm coming back Christmas. School, I think it was like a September. No, because it happened like in a 9 weeks time frame. I don't even know how that shit dropped like this, but it happened in a 9 weeks time frame. So from shit, I don't remember the time, man. It was a long time ago. I was 11. But anywho, the purpose of what I was talking about was that in that, I'm like, yo, he's coming back. Like, fuck, but he called me a nerd. All right, so I got to appease him. My grades dropped. Like, I started, like, when I was in class, I ain't do shit but trade Pokemon cards and cuss the teacher out. Like, I got rolled up so much, man. And then it's like, at that point, it was like, I just gave up. I just gave up because he didn't come back in December. And then it plummeted more. It plummeted a lot more because he didn't come back. And I was like, damn, maybe it's because I'm a nerd. Maybe it's because I am smart and I'm not supposed to be, and that's why he ain't here. I was like, maybe it's because I'm not playing sports. Maybe it's because I don't have trophies and I gave up. I quit. I stopped fucking with school altogether. And then not only that, the anger kicked in because it's like the energy from a man. It was all masculine energy. It was all male energy. I ain't fuck with none of it. I was like, you know what? If me and my dad are at odds, I'm at odds with every fucking body. So I had a teacher, this is 6th grade, and he was like, I gave this motherfucker hell. I ain't even gonna front, yo. I remember one time, I forgot what I did, but he motherfucking went and just he rammed his head into a wall. That's how angry I made him. I said, bro, I got power, nigga. Like, I'm 11, I can make you do that shit. But this motherfucker gave me a discipline assignment like every week. No, I remember the week. It was like every day I got a discipline assignment. But I didn't appreciate it because his nephew was in the class and shit, and I was talking to his nephew. I was like, yo, you got to give him one too. I'm going to talk to his mother. No, fuck no. Don't talk to his mother when you get home. Motherfucker, give him a discipline assignment too. He said, don't question me. All right. Came back the next day. Did you do your... Nope. Why? He didn't get one. I told you, I don't give a fuck what you told me. He ain't get one. In this classroom, we students. Like, my mom was different. So I was telling him, I was like, in this classroom, we students. He's not your nephew in this classroom. He's another student. If I'm getting a discipline assignment for interacting with him, he needs to get one for interacting with me. All right, now, and the discipline assignment was bullshit. It was like I had to write a whole page out of a dictionary and shit. So I'm like, man, fuck you and this dictionary, bro. You can kiss my ass, right? It had got like every day he's like, all right, I'm gonna add a page. I ain't do the first page, motherfucker. What you think adding another one's gonna do? You just gonna stress yourself out. He wrote me up, gave me another page. Okay, I went to the office. They said, so are you gonna? I said, I'm not doing a discipline assignment. And it was like the assistant principal. She was a black lady too. Her name was Miss Knight. I didn't really love her, but she was black, so it was, She said, why? I said, because his nephew didn't get the discipline assignment. I was talking to his nephew. Did he write that in the write-up? Nah, he just wrote that exactly. Let's write the whole cause of events. I got the discipline assignment because I was talking to his nephew. His nephew didn't get a discipline assignment. He said that he was going to talk to his nephew's mom when they got home or whatever. Okay, cool. Talk to my mom when you get home. Fuck, like that's not, you know what I mean? So I said, what I'm being written up for is because I didn't do the discipline assignment. He gave me another page and I'm not doing that either. So she was like, come on, just do it. All right. I go back to class. Come back the next day. You do the discipline assignment? Nope. I'm like 4 days in, I got 4 pages. At this point, my mom is reached. And I don't know why people just thought I was a bitch or something. So I called my mama. So my mom, I get home. She like, Ray, why didn't you do this assignment? I said, I'm telling you. She was like, you can't set the rule. I said, I'm not setting the rules, but he can't make adjustments everybody knew that I was right. But I get now that I'm older, I get what they was trying to do. The school to prison pipeline was on some real shit, and I was very angry. So I get it. But me and my mom, we came to a consensus because I fucked with my mama. I said, look, we're going to compromise. Tell them this. I'll write 1 page, but that's it. I said, I'll write 1 page. I had like 4 of them motherfuckers in that bitch. And the dictionary, it was one of them thin word ones too. I was like, I'm not doing that shit. I said, I'll do 1 page. I was like, look, I'll do 1 page because my mama want me to do it. And he agreed to it. I did the 1 page, turned the shit in. You feel what I mean? But from there, that's when I realized what forgiveness, why I needed to forgive him. Because like by 7th grade, I had this teacher. He was a male teacher. Like it just got worse. And the universe was putting me in front of male teachers and say, look, bro, let this shit go. Nope. Fuck them. They're men. I said, I said, I got to be a man by myself. So I'm going to speak to you as a man. Motherfucker will always be like, yo, why do you always have to say something back? I said, why you always got to say something first? It's that simple. He had my motherfucking mama on speed dial. And then one day we had that conversation where it finally broke. And I was like, man, I said, my own father don't even give me motherfucking guidance like that. I said, I ain't gonna let you motherfucker tell me shit. And then that's when the layers peeled back and it broke. And he kind of said, yo, you gotta let that shit go. He said, because it's only gonna get worse from here. And then I eventually, I was able to go in, but then I had to forgive myself because I had to forgive myself for the anger that I accepted, for the rage that I had developed, for letting my whole mentality slip because of this one being. That was too much power for this person to have over me. And that's what I needed to forgive myself for. You feel me? I could forgive him easily, just like, yo, fuck that. Like, you don't matter. But I couldn't forgive myself because I was like, I had changed. And then to change back into the fun-loving person that I once was, I kind of like the anger. I kind of like when the motherfuckers wasn't fucking with me. I kind of like being volatile and shit because I had started to enjoy that shit because it was like my father had made me cry. You feel me? My father had brought me to tears because he had left me. You dig what I mean? And I said, I can't let anybody else bring me to that. You feel me? And that's why I couldn't forgive it because of what it would cause me to evolve into. A person who could be, open and have the risk of that happening. But as I got older, I was like, man, ain't nobody gonna make me cry. Nobody's gonna have that power unless I give it to them. But that was the whole dynamic of what I was representing with the shit. You feel what I'm saying? So that brought forgiveness to a whole new level for me. Not only and it took it beyond forgetting and reconciling. I've forgiven my father, but we can't reconcile. And that's one of the hardest things because my sister is like, her and him, they reconcile. They fuck with each other. You know what I mean? I'm like, she's like, yo, I said, I've forgiven him. Sis, like, I don't fuck with him though. Like, it's nothing wrong. He's not a bad person anymore. I don't see him as the monster. I just don't fuck with him. I don't have to. That's what people forget about forgiveness. I don't have to fuck with you when I forgive you. You feel me? I do not have to fuck with you when I forgive you. And I've learned nobody can guilt me into that shit. You feel what I'm saying? After the situation with my girlfriend at the time, she was like, do you forgive me? Yeah. Can we start? No, we can't start over. Why? What happened? I thought you forgave me. I did, but I don't fuck with you. I've forgiven what you've done. I don't fuck with you though. Like, I don't have to fuck with you again. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be a religious construct of, give somebody the other cheek. No, fuck that. You're not slapping me the first time. And if you do get the first slap, I'm fucking you up. I'm letting you know not to slap me again. That's forgiveness. I cut the energy off. You're not bringing that slap me one time energy anymore. The energy you come back with is going to change the fuck out of you because you're not even going to think to slap me again. That's just the energy that I'm on. You feel what I'm saying? It's not asshole-ish. It's not anything like that. But it's like, that's what forgiveness is. I released that energy. That energy that was able to come in and wreak havoc and do whatever. It can't do that shit anymore. It's not doing that shit anymore. But when I forget and reconcile, have a field day. Have a field day. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's not going to happen again. But if I get cheated on again, that's it. You're done. Ain't no, yo, we got to do and don't let me have a baby with this person or something like that. And it's like, no, we got to do it for the kids. No, fuck that. We're going to let the kids learn what it really means to start to grow in life. I'm not doing shit for the sake of no babies. That's why we in that's reconciliation and forgetting. I'm not doing that shit because now I'm living miserable and now I'm giving them energy, a certain energy off that shows them that this is what a relationship is supposed to be like. No, you fucked me over. You wronged me. And I'm letting my babies know right now, even though it's your mama, I know you love her. Do not hold in or harbor any situation for her. And vice versa. If I do the shit, keep the same energy with me. You feel me? But at the same time, teach the babies, look, this is not anything with you. This is not, and this doesn't make your mother any worse of a person. However, this means our energies do not work anymore. Our energies do not work and they cannot work. And it's not about the sake of you trying to stay together. You feel what I'm saying? It's understanding the reality. You feel what I mean? And now coming to terms with still letting you know I'm doing this because if I stay in this situation, you're going to pick up energy and you're going to repeat the motherfucking cycle. You're going to repeat the same fucking cycle because you're only able to resonate with. And if I'm a model man, if I'm what you model your man after, you feel what I'm saying? If my son and my if his mother is what he models a woman after, what do we think is going to happen? They're going to gravitate towards that energy. And that's not an energy that we need to, you know what I mean? Delve in. So I'm like, if we learn how as people to forgive and separate forgiveness and reconciliation, motherfuckers will really stop wronging you. Motherfuckers stop wronging people. They're like, yo, I can't fuck with that. I can't fuck with him. I can't fuck with her anymore. Like, she forgave me, but I thought you no, I did forgive you. I do not have to fuck with you. Forgiveness and reconciliation do not walk hand in hand. They don't. You feel what I'm saying? They don't. And it's you gotta deal with that. You feel what I'm saying? You gotta deal with that. People gotta learn how to better deal with that. You know? And that's another point. Going back to not reconcile. This is like when you forgive yourself, this does not mean you reconcile with the old behavior that you're forgiving yourself for. Now we back on that accountability shit. You feel what I'm saying? When you're forgiving yourself, when you say, I forgive me for the shit that I've done. I forgive me. Like, for example, myself. When I had to forgive myself for my decision making, I never reconciled with making those fucked up decisions. I can't reconcile with making those dumbass decisions anymore. You feel me? I now have to evolve myself to make new decisions, to be more aware of the decisions that I make, to follow my discernment, to listen to see the red flags and say, I'm throwing my white one. I'm out. I'm out. You ain't. I may not be a man. I may not be all of that shit. Call me what you want, motherfucker. I'm out. I'm out. I ain't reconciling with that shit no more. I forgive you, but ain't no reconciliation. You feel what I'm saying? Because that's reconciliation under the guise of forgiveness is the epitome of giving the motherfucker an inch and they take a mile. You can't say shit. You reconciled that mile. You reconciled that mile out of the situation, bro. Like, sis, like, you did that shit. You feel what I'm saying? And then you got to own it. So now that fucks up and makes it harder for you to forgive yourself. You know what I'm saying? I know so many people, like, you know, they say shit like, well, you know, I knew that this relationship wasn't going to work. Have you forgiven yourself for knowingly getting to some shit you knew was bad for you? Nah, it's hard because you don't want to blame yourself. It was all them. Now, granted, some people get manipulated. I'm not even gonna lie. Some people get manipulated in the situations. However, in that manipulation, you still see the red flags. You choose to ignore them. See, that's a problem. People be like, I'm going to accept you flaws and all. And that's why we can reconcile this shit. Oh, you know, shut the fuck up. I ain't trying to hear that shit. Because I feel like this. This is my own personal philosophy, right? I don't think anybody's flawed. I don't think people are flawed. I don't. You feel what I'm saying? If you have shit about you that I don't like, that's not your flaw. That's some shit that I don't like. And if I don't like it, I shouldn't fuck with it. That's my fault for looking past it and saying, okay, I'm going to fuck with it. You feel what I'm saying? But I don't think people are flawed. If that is what makes you, you're not a flawed person. Now, if you see it as a flaw and you're not working to correct it, again, that's on me. Not only do I see this as a problem and you acknowledge it as a flaw, but you won't fix the shit. You just want me to accept what I view as a problem. No, I gotta go. It's all love. Because with love comes correction. And I'm correcting this situation. Like, I'm not going to change you. I'm not going to try to change you. I'm not. But I'm not going to fuck with what's problematic to me. You feel me? That comes from me forgiving myself and forgiving the energies. Forgiving the energies that cause me the problems. Instead of trying to reconcile with them and, it's going to be better. It's going to be better. It's going to be okay. They don't really know what they doing. You know, I still see the potential. That P word fuck a lot of us up. I still see the potential in the person. I still see the potential. You can still be this. That potential ain't a reality. And as long as that reality is not showing, you gonna fuck yourself up. It's like holding your breath. You cannot bring someone's potential out. You feel me? I say this shit all the time. You know, I'm like, if I inspired you in any way, shape, or form, show me what you've done with that inspiration. Inspiration is supposed to lead to some kind of action. If you did not get your shit together, or if you did not do whatever plans you had set, I didn't inspire you, you admire me. And in that admiration, they're very close. They're very close. You feel what I'm saying? But inspiration breeds action. If I inspire you to do something, you create something after that. You dig what I mean? Otherwise, it's admiration. So it's like in that relationship, if that potential is there, and that's what you see, you gotta, when it's over, I gotta forgive myself for seeing the potential in that person. I gotta forgive myself for seeing the potential in myself. I gotta forgive myself for seeing that potential in that person. I said it wrong. Because so many times we get caught up in another point of forgiveness is learning and forgiving ourselves for seeing ourselves in people. A lot of times we base the situations of people's lives based off of how our own are living. We assume that they're doing the same shit. Go figure. Like, people that can see the potential in other people and will stay through the potential are people that turn their potential into reality. So when they see somebody with, oh, I got drive, I got ambition. Oh shit, that excites them. I know it did for me. It does for me. When I come into a situation with a woman and she constantly tells me, oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. That was my old folly. That's how I got fucked up in the situation I was in the first couple times. You feel what I'm saying? It was like, I'm telling her, look, I'm going to own my own businesses. I'm going to own this. I'm going to own that. Like, I'm serious. Like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? I said, all I ask is that you just let me finish schooling and getting all the stuff there, and the world is yours. That was my only thing. She's like, oh, well, that's what's up, because I want to do this. I want to open this center. I want to open this. Cool. I fucks with it. Do your thing. Right? And then like 6-7 months later, she's like, I didn't really want to do all that shit. I just said it because I didn't want you to show me up. Motherfucker, I'm invested in you now. Now, the new me, though, who I am right motherfucking now. Oh, you fuck around and lie. You want to. Snip, snip. You gone. Like, that's it. Like, don't play with me. Don't play with me or my time or my energy. That came from forgiving myself. Fuck that shit. I stayed in that situation because of that. I was like, you know what? I'm already invested. You know, this is something I've learned with day trading. You feel me? If the trade is going negative, get out. Don't stay in the motherfucker. Oh, it's going to turn around. It can turn around for me. You know what? I'm going to see if it can turn. You never know. Shit might. No, it's showing you that it's going against you. Your account is depleting right before your eyes. You feel what I'm saying? Get the fuck out. That's the shit I'm on now. And in more recent times, that's what's been happening. You feel me? That's what's been happening. Women tell me, oh, I want to do this, that, and the third. And motherfuckers keep telling me I'm hard on people. I ain't hard on people. They soft, man. Damn. You feel me? But it's like, me being hard on people was the reality that came when I learned to forgive myself for that shit, and I do not dwell in that energy that's going to bring potential out. That's just going to stay in potential. Because every situation that I was in where a motherfucker was just operating for potential and not bringing in reality, they didn't do shit. You know what I'm saying? I dealt with a couple women who, I want to do this, that, and the third. Okay, cool. Do it. Then it's like, once they in that space, they crumble. That's the next step to the shit. Not only seeing the potential in the motherfucker, right? But when a motherfucker actually goes for their potential, can they achieve it? I know. That's some rough shit. That can be some rough shit. I know. And it can seem very arrogant and very assholes to cut somebody off who can't bring their potential into reality. But if they can't bring their potential into reality, how can y'all bring a collective potential into reality? Think about that. And that was something I had to forgive myself for. Like, okay, now I got to forgive myself for. And that's when I knew in that forgiveness, I was able to evolve. I was changing. Because not only, you know what I'm saying, there's women that are seeing beyond the potential and they're actually trying the shit. They just don't have the it factor to bring it into reality. I'm not mad at that. You feel what I'm saying? They tried. You tried. At least you tried. But as the phrase goes, And this is going to seem fucked up. It's like, yo, good ain't good enough. And that is perfectly fine to say and set as a standard for yourself. You feel what I'm saying? Because what does that do for me when I want to bring something into reality? And when you try to bring shit into reality, you fail at it. But when I do it, I succeed. You're going to have animosity towards me. And I'd be a fool to stay in that shit. You know? And I ran into those situations. Now, I've forgiven myself for, okay, I entertained somebody who had potential. They tried the reality, they couldn't make it. Okay, cool. Let me forgive myself for that. So now I can gravitate towards the energy for not only somebody who has the potential, they're bringing it to reality and they're succeeding at it. You feel me? Because there's levels to the shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that the people failed 100% because they failed because they quit. They started the shit and then they didn't finish. I don't need that in my space. But people are afraid, like, I don't need that. I don't need that. But that comes from forgiving that energy and deciding I don't have to reconcile with that shit. I don't have to reconcile with potential. I don't have to reconcile with executed potential and failure. I don't have to. You feel what I'm saying? Take me as I am. I do take you as you are. That's why you're on the other side of the fence now. I'm accepting that. And I know that this can't be in for my life. You feel what I'm saying? Sometimes we get guilted into the fact that people, I'm trying my best. I had just made a post about this a few days ago. It's like, yo, I'm trying my best. I don't knock that. You are trying your best. Your best just does not cut it for me. That's fine. That's fine. And in those moments, people that I've said that to, people that have experienced that from me, they have to forgive themselves for not, they got to forgive me for that, for, I guess, making them feel however I made them feel. But they got to forgive themselves for internalizing that they have to compete. They have to keep up with where I am. Accept that sometimes some shit is out of your league. It's okay. It's okay. You feel what I'm saying? I myself do it. If a woman is at a different caliber and I'm like, wait, bro, let me wait. Because I already know how energy works. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, I know that I'm going to rise to the occasion. But when? You feel what I'm saying? Like that's a important piece too. When? So it's like that forgiveness piece, it opens me up to the next level. That letting go, that opens me up to the next level. That's why, like, now all of the women that come into my space now, they don't fail at the shit that they bring. They don't fail at the potentials they manifest because I had to forgive that shit. Because I kept running into a situation where every woman that is like, they had the potential, they execute, then they fail. Had the potential, I was like, I can't have that in my space because I'm not, like, I start to connect with that shit. So I was like, yo, let me forgive myself, release that shit. I can't reconcile with you. We can be friends, we can text, we can talk, whatever. But as far as where we were, I can't reconcile that. Like, it's obvious. You feel me? But that comes into that point. And then forgiving myself for, one of the most important things that people have to forgive themselves for is appearing arrogant or appearing, like an asshole. Like, for being honest. You feel me? I dealt with a woman who, if you were following my Instagram back in like 2016, I pissed her off, bro. I pissed her off so bad that she created fake Instagram pages and then went and followed people that I, mainly women, and, basically tell them I was a devil worshiper. I was all kind of crazy shit. And I was like, the reality is she couldn't fit in the space and she doesn't want to accept it. That's not my fault. I did nothing to her. I actually told her the truth. I said, you know what? We're in two different spaces. I'm moving at this pace. You're moving at that pace. And I'm like, at this point, I was 26 at the time. She was mid 30s. Fuck, your drive should be way better than mine. I feel. That's how I feel. We were like 9 years apart. There's no reason why I should be eclipsing you. You feel me? But I get it. Everybody cut from different cloths. You know what I mean? But that whole point is that, I had to forgive myself for that. I had to forgive myself for, you know what? I had to forgive myself for being honest, which is crazy. I had to forgive myself for that. But In addition to that, and what I mean by forgiving myself for being honest, I'd forgive myself for feeling bad about it. I had to forgive myself, and that's some crazy shit. I had to forgive myself for hurting this person's feelings by being honest. You feel what I'm saying? Because that energy kept me from being honest with. It's not like I told her some shit like, you know what I mean? Like it blew up and said, yo, you ain't shit, you ain't this. I was like, yo, we're just in two different spaces in our lives. You know what I mean? And we're running a different race. We're running at a different pace and we're running at a different speed. And I've been on the track a lot longer than you've been on the track. So it's not equal. You know what I mean? It's not equal. So it's like there's a difference between distance and displacement. Like displacement is where, you know, you go from point A to point B back to point A. That's a zero displacement, but you still travel the full distance that accumulated. You know, driving from your house to the gas station back to your house is a zero displacement, but you still going 5 to 10 miles. You feel what I'm saying? So the distance is accumulated. So it's like, if I got more distance than you, I don't give a fuck if we're in the same displacement. And we should be able to come to terms with that. You feel what I'm saying? So that was one of the points I had to forgive. Like, I had to forgive. Some of us got to forgive ourselves for being honest. We got to forgive ourselves for how people perceive. Like, we ain't got no control over how people perceive how we be honest. You know what I mean? But all in all, this is about being able to forgive yourself. And like, after you forgive people, after you forgive circumstances, after you forgive things, let it go. Then you got to forgive yourself to release the full attachment to it. Because that's what it becomes, an attachment. You know what I mean? Whatever you're forgiving, whatever you know that you have to forgive, have to have forgiveness for, you also have to have forgiveness within yourself. You feel what I'm saying? Don't beat yourself up. Simple shit. If you fail a test, right? Forgive yourself for failing the test. You failed it. Don't mull over it of, well, if I would have just studied at this hour, if I wouldn't have went to this, fuck it. Let it go. I failed. Accept it, forgive it. Okay, cool. Now I know I can't sacrifice this shit. Now you make the change. You make the evolution. You can't see that because, like I said, it's harder to make that change because we're going to use that same test metaphor. Because now it's like, damn, I failed this test because of this party I went to. I failed this test because I was having a good time. I don't want to not have a good time, but I also don't want to fail again. So the choice has to be made. That's why I'm like, yo, change, the evolution has to be permanent. Because I have to completely say, you know what? Fuck these parties if I'm failing. You feel me? You have to completely change. And that's what the forgiveness is. Once you forgive and you like, it completely evolves you as a person. And the energies around you now attract differently. You'll never be the same. You can't be the same. You're not supposed to be the same. That's what forgiveness is about. You know what I mean? And forgiving my father and letting it go and forgiving myself for my interaction with my father, I became a better man. I became a better man. Not only a better man, a better human being. Because I was able to forgive myself. Reconciliation? No, that's going to keep you in the same loop. Because you're going to be around that same energy, revolving the same, recycling the same bullshit. But forgiveness, now you can make the choice whether I reconcile or not. I didn't. But then you have to reconcile according to the change, according to the evolution. You will see that once you truly forgive something and you let it go and you forgive yourself in it and then you make that change, reconciliation is going to be based upon your new cycle. And then you're going to see that you don't fit in that shit anyway anymore. It just doesn't work. This is why like after somebody cheats and you go back into a relationship, it's just not the same. It can't be. It's not supposed to. Like, you're supposed to evolve and change. Like, shit's not supposed to be, it's not supposed to be the same. You know what I mean? After I quote unquote got woke, you feel me? Became conscious and shit. I had to forgive myself for trying to fit back into the relationships that I had as the old me. With the new mentality. It just don't work. You feel what I'm saying? Aunties, cousins, everybody's like has this. I'm like, yo, I ain't got to forgive. Like, I've forgiven y'all for still viewing me that way and throwing whatever subtle shots you want, but I forgive myself for trying to fit back in the mold, knowing I was a different person. You feel me? So now it's different. Now I set up the relationships to where it's like, yo, this is me. Now we can build off of this, But I'm not reconciling and going back to who I was because I can't. I can't. It's literally impossible. And that's what the forgiveness part is. You feel what I'm saying? That's what the forgiveness part is. So take that time when you forgive things, forgive people. You feel what I'm saying? Not in the form of reconciliation and trying to forget the shit, because you can't forget it. You feel what I'm saying? But you forgive by completely letting it go. Saying this energy no longer serves me. I'm done with it. And be done with it and complete with whatever lesson you were supposed to get out of it. You feel me? Let that energy go. Take that time to go back into yourself and forgive yourself for your connection with it. Don't blame yourself. This is not placing the blame game or playing a victim, but this is forgiving your role in that shit, because you have a connection into why that shit works. Like I said, with my relationship, I couldn't forgive myself for nothing I didn't do wrong, because I couldn't see what I needed to forgive myself for. I was like, man, I ain't gotta forgive myself for her cheating. What the fuck kind of shit is that? Then I was like, yo, I knew I wasn't supposed to be in a relationship with that person. I knew that I was supposed to dissociate myself from that person early on. So I had to forgive myself for my decision making. I had to forgive myself for the internalized indoctrinations that I had about staying and fighting through shit, and men could take no. It just made me a better person. Like, my relationships are not different. They're a lot more fruitful. They're a lot more beneficial. The women that come into my life now do not carry that energy. And in that transformation, I had to forgive myself for still trying to find or fit within that. Like, I can't. You know what I'm saying? And then in forgiveness, you accept that you accept your new evolution and the new person you're about to become for forgiving. You're gonna change. The moment you forgive something, you're gonna change. But if you're stuck and you're dwelling on staying the same, you will. And you can't forgive that person. That's why you have to forget and reconcile. You feel what I'm saying? Every experience in life is designed to build us to another level. But the moment that we forgive it, that's the cheat code. That's when the levee breaks. Everybody wants to level up. Everybody wants to change. Everybody wants to grow. Everybody's like, I want to be in this bit. But you can't if you do not forgive the shit that tethers you to the past. Forgive the people, forgive the places, forgive all the nouns. Put it like that. And then forgive yourself. You feel what I'm saying? When you do that, your level up is comfortable. You're not taking new shit. You're not taking old shit into a new place. You're like, all right, well, this old shit, staying in the old shit. I'm out. I'm not saying do this because, this is illegal and shit. But it's like, you decide I want to move. And you just leave all of your shit and just go to a new place. That's what forgiveness is like. All of that old shit that binds you, you can't bring it with you. You just can't. You feel me? That's what forgiveness is about. You forgive, you let it go, and then you're able to go to that next level. You feel what I'm saying? But if you keep reconciling, if you keep trying to forget, you're going to drive yourself crazy because you can't forget. But then if you reconcile that shit, you feel what I'm saying? You create the habit loop. You create the habit loop. You create the insanity. Then you fall into the situation, why me? Why me? Because you're not supposed to be in this space. Now, if you forgive yourself for the situation, you forgive them for the situation, and you allow the energies to go their separate ways, the energy that you need is going to gravitate towards you. And that's the part of forgiving yourself. Because forgiving that situation allows the energy to come back in, allows the right energy, the new energy to come in. Forgiving yourself allows you to embrace it. And don't forget to take a moment to go get your exclusive merchandise from Just Scenes merch. At Just Scenes, each piece is specifically crafted with positive imagery and symbolism. From the titles and designs to the descriptions, each style gives you something to feel great about. With everything from hoodies and tees to coffee mugs and tote bags, we have something for the entire family. So be sure to get yours today. Find us on Instagram at Just Scenes merch and get your merchandise right now. All right, I've already gone longer than I wanted to go. My bad, y'all. I be doing that shit. I know y'all be wanting to keep it short. My bad. But this was a very important topic because, like I said, I talk to a lot of people who want to know what forgiveness is about and then want to know how to truly forgive and how to go to the next level, but they're blurring the lines between forgiveness and then reconciliation and forgetting. It's like I'm like, do you really want to forgive this person? Do you really want to forgive yourself? Because it causes you to change. It causes you to change. Not change, evolve. I gotta, because you're not changing back once it's done. Once you truly forgive somebody, you can't change back. You know what I mean? But people still harbor that. They still hold on to that. And when you still hold on, it keeps you in that space and it keeps that energy cycle in your life. You cannot grow. You will not grow. Because you're not able to allow in any other new therapeutic energies, any positive energies, and any transformative energies. You're not allowed to let any of that shit in. Simply because you are bound to what you won't let go of. Because you're just reconciling. You know? You don't always have to go talk about it. Talking about it puts it into perspective of what you need to forgive. That's the reality to it. Therapy works. Don't get me wrong. That shit works. But it puts on the table the things you need to forgive. Not just say, hey, this is a part of me. Okay, I'm going to let it stay there. That's one of the worst things. Because when you bring shit out of your unconscious mind or your subconscious mind, and then you just leave it there, now you're consciously focused on shit that you had suppressed. The fuck, you got to reconcile with it. I mean, you got to forgive with it. You're just trying to reconcile with it while it's staying in your head. Okay, well, I'm going to make it the best of what I have. No, I don't make the best of problems. You feel me? I don't try to make the best of problematic shit. I can't. That's why it's a problem. There's no best that can come out of that bullshit. You feel me? I see what the problem is, and if I can't turn it into a solution, all right, let me forgive myself for that. Let me forgive this shit. Let me separate myself from this energy, and now let me allow a solution to come in. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of times you meet some motherfuckers that are like real different, real rare, and it's something completely from the norm. And you've asked the universe for them, but you can't deal with them and you can't be with them simply because you were not ready yet. You know what I mean? You were not ready yet. You feel what I'm saying? I met a lot of women who, damn, if I was just healed, we would have been good right now. But I didn't, because I wasn't like, that's what those lessons showed me. And that was one of the pivotal pieces that led me to being able to forgive myself and learn the power of forgiveness. Because I'm like, damn, I didn't forgive myself for missing my opportunity with you. Because in not forgiving myself, what's connected to that is the fact that it's like, damn, if I wasn't fucking with this motherfucker, I could have had her. Like, I got a woman. I don't have a woman, but I know this woman now. We turned out to be good friends. We still friends, a little bit now. Like, we don't talk all the time, but like, we show up on each other's social media feeds. She got a beautiful little girl, married and shit. And, I had a moment where I was like, yo, that was supposed to be me. If I wasn't fucking with this goofy motherfucker, like, that would have been me. Like, she would have had my baby and shit, like, all of that. Like, you feel me? But in the moment when I met her, I had not forgiven myself or the past. So I was not able to connect with her. You feel me? I was not able to make that full connection. And because of that, it was like, damn. The universe was showing me like, see what happens when you forgive? Like, if you would have forgiven this, you probably would have been in that situation. Would I probably have been? Who knows? But the point is, the message is shown that when that shit comes back, it's like, this is the power of forgiveness. You feel what I'm saying? Because now I'm able to see, oh shit, like she completed her goals. She did everything she said she was going to do. We're walking the same path, but we just ain't walking together no more because I didn't make the right choice. I didn't make the right point. I didn't forgive at the right time. You feel me? To be open to connect with what I was supposed to connect with. You feel me? This is all aspects of life. What if you're not getting that job that you want simply because you have not forgiven the job that you're at? And you haven't forgiven yourself for being there for as long as you have, or being there in that position, or whatever the case may be. You haven't forgiven yourself for that situation that led you into that job. What if that's keeping you from the job that you want, the dream job that you want? You feel what I'm saying? What if not forgiving yourself or forgiving the circumstance of the relationship is keeping you attracting fuck boys and bum bitches. Like, what if that's why? You know? What if the fact that you're not forgiving yourself is keeping? Because we're big on that. We all woke and shit, supposedly. What if not forgiving yourself and forgiving circumstances keeping your manifestations in the ethers and not coming into this world? You feel what I mean? That next level is waiting up on your forgiveness. You can't continue to and see, that's the problem. Certain shit we gotta forgive and let go, and we can't reconcile with because of what the next level needs. Because of what the next level fucking needs. You dig what I mean? And that is the hardest part, because we want these manifestations. Oh, I want, myself included. You feel what I'm saying? I have moments where certain shit just will not come to me because I won't forgive the shit that's binding me to keep me from having it. You feel what I'm saying? I remember when I talk about day trading a lot, not to plug the course or anything like that, but I talk about it a lot because I learned a lot of experience from day trading. When I first started day trading, like I would squander the money and I would sabotage a lot of my profits, right? Not intentionally, not like I would go in and say, I'm gonna blow this shit, but I had to forgive myself for, one, having the fear of money and abundance, and two, accepting, and I had to forgive myself for being the difference maker in my family's lineage for the rest of my life. I know that seems strange. How would you have to forgive yourself for that? Because I had already internalized that. They already didn't understand me. They already didn't see the vision of what I was going to do. I had to forgive myself that I had to forgive myself for even feeling guilty for making a choice, for making the best life for myself and the generations after me. Once I was able to do that and break myself from having the fear of money and forgive myself from that, boom, shit happened. I couldn't become the successful entrepreneur I was until I forgave myself for being attached to not being able to do it or being afraid to do it. You feel what I'm saying? That's when the shit happened. I was able to create this bag and that bag and this one. It's like, yo, when I let go of that shit and I forgave myself for even internalizing that, I don't deserve this shit. You feel what I'm saying? How much of the shit that we are going through in life we feel we don't deserve? Forgive yourself for ever feeling like you don't deserve something great. I can assure you, when you forgive yourself, when you can forgive yourself for ever feeling like you don't deserve good shit comes to you like a motherfucker. And it will stop the moment you start to reconcile that you don't deserve. Reconcile with the conceptualization that, well, maybe I don't deserve good shit. Maybe this is supposed to happen to me. Why me? Why me? Change that perspective from why me to why not me. You know, hey, shit, it gotta be me. Not on no arrogant shit. I'm one of the most modest motherfuckers you can ever meet, but my confidence is through the roof because it has to be. You feel me? When people ask me, yo, why you? Nigga, motherfucker, why not me? Damn it, I'm dope as fuck. Like, if not me, then who? That's my response, and I had to learn to get to that point. If not me, then who? You feel me? I had to forgive myself for even being able to feel that way. Because you know how many people come, yo, you're arrogant. You're this. No, I'm confident. If you see what the fuck is behind, if you see the bottom of this motherfucking iceberg, you wouldn't say that shit. If you see what's behind the mentality that speaks these words, you wouldn't call me arrogant. But you have to. You feel me? And me internalizing it, I had to forgive myself for that shit, bro. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, well, I don't want to be as abundant as I am. I don't want to be as abundant as I could be because I don't want people to, fuck them people. They gonna hate you if you're broke. They gonna hate you if you're rich. They gonna hate you if you're poor. They gonna hate you if you're wealthy. Fuck them. Straight like that. But forgive that part first. Before you say fuck them, forgive that part. And then reconcile so you're not doing shit in spite of them to throw it in their face. I do this shit for my haters. That is when you cannot forgive, but you're reconciling with motherfuckers that don't like you. Haters are my motivate. Haters, y'all can't motivate me for shit. What motivates me is my lovers. What motivates me is people that really fuck with me on a real level. Now I know people that fake fuck with me. I mean, that's my motivation. You feel what I'm saying? And I had to forgive myself. I had to forgive myself for that, for ever even having the mentality of haters being my motivation. Because then when motherfuckers wasn't hating me no more, I was like, I don't feel like doing shit. You feel me? Ain't no fuel. But then when I changed that perspective, and every life that I touched, everybody that, yo, you really inspire, that shit makes me go. That shit fuels me more. That's motivation for me. But I had to forgive myself for the other, and I had to embrace the right one. You feel what I'm saying? But that's what this life is about, yo. That's what going to your next level is going to be about. Forgiving yourself and forgiving circumstance to allow new shit to come in. You had that heartbreak, even if the shit was good, you knew, damn, man, this relationship was so good, man. It was just, why did we not work? Forgive yourself for it not working. Forgive them for it not working. You guys just didn't work. Now let that open you up to the next phase. Because like I said, those women, they were cool, except for the motherfucker that did me dirty. Like, she was foul. Like, she really did some fucked up shit. Every other woman, like, even, like, they were good people. I don't knock that. They were good people. I don't have anything bad to say about them outside of the motherfucker that made an Instagram page is trying to, sending threats at me and shit. But I don't have anything bad to say about them ultimately. They were good people. But they weren't good for me. Sometimes you can have a good person, a good opportunity, a good situation. It could be good as fuck, but it's still not good for you. And you can force it to be good, and that fucks you up. And that will ultimately lead to the fact that you got to forgive yourself for that. It's hard to forgive. Like, now this goes back to the very beginning when I was talking about positive part. It's hard to forgive yourself for good shit. When you had something good that didn't work, when you had something great that was fucking phenomenal, but you got to forgive yourself for that. But see, with those situations, it's hard to forgive when it's good, because it's like, I want to reconcile. I want to revive that shit again. You can't, because that's when it becomes bad. Too much of a good thing can be bad. And when something was good for you and it still didn't work out in your favor, it still caused friction, even though it presented itself as good, remove yourself from it. Remove yourself from it. Don't go into the space of reconciling and trying to, I'm going to make it fit me because I know it's good. Might not be. In the long run. You feel what I'm saying? Accept that. Forgive that situation. Forgive that person. Forgive that experience. Forgive yourself and your connection to it. And then you ascend to the next level. Like I said, this was a very good one. This was very heartfelt when I felt this one and shit. You feel me? This one I fuck with. You know what I mean? This is one of the levels things that took me to that next level. When people ask me how I get to, and I do certain shit, it's like forgiveness. I forgive a lot of shit because I know how to forgive now. I forgive a lot of shit. I don't forget shit, and I don't reconcile. If I can't but I forgive a lot of shit, which means I let it go and I allow more shit to come in. You feel what I'm saying? It ain't nothing, and then once I learned to do that about everything, not just relationships, all interactions, anything, I learned to forgive them, the circumstance, myself, and then I started to see my level up happen. Shit was almost exponential. Like, it happens that fast. The universe happens like, boom, you just got to be ready. And forgiveness is forgiveness is like the anchor. You feel me? You can only go so far with it. When you cut the anchor, you can flow all the way around. You feel me? And then in forgiveness, you learn to absolve guilt. If you go back to the chakras, you'll see the purpose of the power of guilt and then leading into shame. Forgiveness helps all of that. It helps with your personal identity. Yo. And when you can really master that, when you can really learn to forgive things, forgive yourself in that circumstance and really let it go, watch, you'll see how shit opens up. And forgiveness then becomes easier. It becomes easier, like, motherfuckers, my older brother be like, he said, yo, Ray, you ain't got no problem with cutting shit off. It's not that I don't have a problem cutting people off. I just forgive. And when I forgive, I let go. And when I let go, bye-bye. If you no longer serve it, then that is what it is. He's like, yo, like, it don't, I don't, fuck. Only thing that's been with me all my life is me. Everything else comes and goes. Fuck. So I'm the only one that I really, really, really need to please and make peace with. Fuck. So it's not about cutting people off and being able to cut people off quick. It's about forgiving the situation and then letting what happens happen without trying to reconcile. If it's problematic to me, if it's detrimental to me, oh, there's no reconciliation. If it's beneficial to me, it's going to be reconciliation as the evolved person, as the evolved being. If it can't reconcile with the evolved being, so be it. You know, so be it. That's how relationships be fucking up, because people will level up and then their significant other will be, oh shit, now you're going to see other people. You're going to, like, no, just level up too. And then we'll see how this works. Like, people be afraid of no longer being able to be in your light anymore. I'm not afraid of people not being in my light anymore. Bye-bye. It is what it is. But again, I don't want to ramble too much. This is almost damn near a 2-hour podcast. So with that being said, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _sing_. Click the link in the bio to get you to wherever it is that you want to go. My merch, my podcast, my Master the Market course, my So Frail books, and the 90-Day Vegan course. Then also be sure to get my book, So Frail: A Reality to Black Male Masculinity, So Frail 2: Toxic Femininity, Hitting It Raw, Living a Raw Plant-Based Lifestyle for Life. I do accept tips and I do accept donations and I do accept sponsorships. All that can be found in the description of your podcast. And lastly, thank you to all those who have supported me in every way, shape, or form. Your support has been great. I love it. I appreciate it. I respect you. You know, y'all the truth. Y'all the ones for the group of y'all that keep it going. Y'all basically the ones I do this shit for. Like, you know, it's reciprocity. I fucks with y'all because y'all fucks with me. And, you know, that's what it is. But from this point forward, like, learn how to truly forgive and take the time to forgive people, places, things, yourself, and then prepare for the next level. Anything that you're planning on right now, I'm going to say this for real, and I'm going to be done, y'all, I promise. Anything that you're planning on right now, the things that you're manifesting, the things that you're doing your moon work, you're doing all of this shit for. The reason why it will not come into this world yet is because you have not forgiven what it is that is connected to your manifestation. All right? You forgive that in yourself. You forgive that in the thing. Whether it is you feel you don't deserve good shit, whether you feel like you don't deserve that magnitude of shit, whatever it is, when you forgive that, boom, the floodgates gonna open. Your cup will runneth the fuck over. Healthy relationships, fucking glowing skin, fucking edges, fucking muscles, fucking whatever it is that you trying to manifest and bring into this world. When you forgive yourself for whatever it is that keeps that from coming into this world, watch how it happens. And don't reconcile with that fucked up ass energy either. When you forgive, do not reconcile with that energy, because you're going to squander and you're going to tarnish your motherfucking manifestation. It's experience. I've done this shit several times. Forgive some shit, let some bullshit come back in, bing, fuck everything up. Because I reconcile with energy that's not supposed to be in my space. That's what's been holding me back. And that's probably what's been holding you back too. You're reconciling with energy that conflicts with your motherfucking manifestation. With that, I'm going to leave it on a high note. I love y'all. Kiss your babies and make sure they eat their vegetables. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom as always. I am out.